Vanakkam. Wish you happy New Year. And today's section is going to be another very interesting section. This is the latest circular issued by Reserve Bank of India on 1/1/2024. It is going to affect all the bank customers. So it's a very interesting and very informative and very good circular that has been issued by Reserve Bank of India. Thus, the Reserve Bank of India is going to take all the money from the customer's account, particularly from, not only particularly, it is specifically from inoperative accounts and unclaimed deposits. Today, we are going to discuss the importance of that circular issued by Reserve Bank of India, and definitely all the customers, they are going to lose the control over the account operation from the inoperative accounts and unclaimed deposits. And who is the real owner of the money? So now you are the real owner. I'm going to ask, for the inoperative accounts in banks, who is the real owner? Is it customer? Is it the banker? Or is it Reserve Bank of India? This question have to be answered. And this is clearly answered by the RBI through this circular number, that is RBI 2023-24 105 DOR SOG LEG REC 64/0908242324 dated January 1, 2024. And this circular is applicable for the public, for the banks, and also for the professionals. And they have asked to go through this circular in detail. And this circular is being issued by the Reserve Bank of India based on the instruction issued in exercise of the powers conferred by Section 35A of the Banking Regulation Act of 1949, read with Section 26A, 51, and 56 of the Act, and all other provisions of this Act or any other law enabling RBI to issue instructions in this regard. And this circular is applicable to all commercial banks, including regional, rural banks. So it is a general circular issued by the Reserve Bank of India. And also it is applicable to all cooperative banks also. So both the commercial banks and cooperative banks, they have to follow this RBI circular. And this is a revised instruction. That means some of the existing instructions have been revised. And this revised instruction come into force from 1/4/2024. And what's the rule of the deposits and unclaimed deposits? So here, so this inoperative deposit circular is effective to all those credit balances that have been maintained by the banks as per the customers' request, or even we can say that the balances maintained at banks by the customers. These accounts have not been operated for 10 years or more. This is the basic of this circular. And even it is not only the accounts, that is it, they also mention, the circular also mentioned about the deposits remaining unclaimed for 10 years or more. So that is also another important point that you have to see. And the Reserve Bank of India has directed all the banks to transfer those funds that are remaining and the inoperative accounts or unclaimed deposits to Depositors Education and Awareness, that is DEA fund. And this transfer is being given by the Reserve Bank of India as per the provisions mentioned in paragraph 3, subclass 3 of DEA fund scheme of 2024. What is the intention, real intention of this type of transfer? That is, the instruction is being given by the Reserve Bank of India in order to reduce the quantum of unclaimed deposits in the banking system. So this is a clear indication that there are so many unclaimed deposits in the banking system, and the Reserve Bank of India, it wants to take control over these kinds of deposits. And Reserve Bank have also thought of returning those deposits to the rightful owners and that too to the rightful claimants. And also another intention is to avoid unauthorized operations or fraud in those accounts. So these are three intentions, and apart from that, the banks are instructed to identify the whereabouts of the customers and nominees and legal heirs. And so here the deposits must be returned to the real owners. And the RBI in its circular authorized the banks to identify the real owners, and the real owners can be identified directly by the bank from the customers, or sometimes that customer would have appointed some nominees, or due to the deceased customer's account, the banks they can contact the legal heirs. And now we are going to see the very important definitions that have been given in the RBI circular regarding the unclaimed, that is regarding inoperative unclaimed deposits in banks. So what are the important meaning? There are two things. You have to concentrate on the bank induced transactions. That is all types of charges levied by the banks, including taxes deducted and savings bank interest, savings bank account interest. So these charges have been directly levied by the banks. So these type of transactions are called as bank induced transactions. Another important definition that you have to see is the customer induced transactions, because customers they can give directly instructions to the bank to carry out the transactions. Now they say that the financial transactions initiated by or done at the on behalf of the account holder by the bank or by the third party or non-financial transactions. They say that financial transaction, and second one is non-financial transactions, and third one is the customer has gone to the bank and produced the KYC. So KYC updation done, and this KYC updation can be done on the physical mode or through digital channel mode also. That is, in case of digital channel mode, it will be in the form of internet banking or mobile banking application of the banks. Now we are moving to the another important definition of financial transaction. What is the meaning of the financial transaction? That is ATM cash withdrawal or deposits, RTGS, NEFT, IMPS, UPI, and internet banking transactions, debit card transactions, transfer of funds from or to the linked CBDC account, check clearing, remittances of funds by way of demand drafts, and cash withdrawals by the third party through the check, standing instructions issued by the customer, NACH debit credits, then term deposits interest and process, dependent on shares, interest on debentures or any other investment process, direct benefit transfer credits, refund like refunds related to e-commerce payments, income tax returns, national electronic toll collection debits. All these are coming under the meaning of the financial transactions. Another important definition that you have to know is about the meaning of the inoperative account. So the inoperative account can take place in the SB account and current account. And in order to treat and say this SB account and current account as inoperative, there should not be any customer induced transactions. And there are no, all the transactions, there are no transactions for the 2 years. That is over the period of 2 years. I mean, if the period exists 2 years, then that account has to be classified as inoperative. Next important definition that everybody must know about the non-financial transactions. All these terms are very important to classify one account as inoperative. So inquiry or at the request in any product or services initiated. So customers would have gone to the branch. Sir, I want to know about the balance. I want to change the transaction limit. So I want checkbook. These are all related to non-financial transactions. So credit card, debit card, the nomination facility. I want to change the nomination facility and balance inquiry. All are coming under the category of the non-financial transactions. Meaning of unclaimed deposit. What is meant by unclaimed deposits? It's a credit balance in the deposit account. A customer has put a deposit in the account. That's a credit balance, and it has not been operated for 10 years. So that means there is no instruction given by the depositor either to renew or to withdraw the money. So it has not been operated for more than, for 10 years or more. And the amount has not been claimed by the depositor for a period of 10 years or more. All are coming under the definition of the unclaimed deposits. Now, another important term is unclaimed deposit reference number, UDRN. So this number has been generated through the CBS environment, and it has been assigned to each unclaimed deposit or deposit transferred to DA fund of RBI. UDRN can be identified only by the account holders or by the bank and not by any third party. So that means they have got any third party has got no direct control over the UDRN. Now, we are going to another important area. After the meaning, we are going to see the review of the accounts. Review of the accounts has to be carried out only by the bank. So banks, they have to conduct the annual review on all the SB accounts or current accounts where there are no customer induced transactions. And this annual, and also the banks also have to carry out the annual renewal deposits, because there is no explicit mandate to renew the term of the deposit, and there is no claim from the depositors, and even the customer has not given any direction to transfer the maturity value to savings account or current account. And banks have to inform. Now, at the time of review, the banks have been specifically instructed by RBI to inform the customers, deposit holders about the account through the letters, that is on the last known address, or email or SMS that has been given to the bank. And when the bank noticed that there was no operation in the last 1 year, they have to adopt this method of reviewing the accounts. And also, the banks at the time when they send the letter or messages or mail, they have to give a message to the customer that the account will be inoperative in 1 year. So please come and do the operation in the account. And the account holders, in order to revive the inoperative account, he has to submit the all KYC documents to the branch head. Now, letters are returned as undelivered, or there is no response to the email. What is a step that the bank has to take? The bank has to make a direct inquiry, and the bank has to go to the source of the customer, source of the details of the customer. Then the bank can contact the account holder if he is available, or the bank can also contact the nominee or legal heirs of the deceased. And if the response is received, okay, the bank, in case any response is received in the account holder, the bank can extend the period of inoperative for another 1 year and ask the customer to carry out the transactions. Even if that is not also carried out during the extended period, then the bank can classify that account as inoperative. For the classification of inoperative accounts, only customer-induced transactions have to be considered, and not bank-induced transactions. This is very, very important. So sometimes the bank would have given the credit to the SB account, but that is not a customer-induced transactions. Only the customer-induced transactions have to be considered to classify one account as inoperative, and no transactions other than the standing instruction. If the customer has given standing instruction, say to make the payment to LIC, or to make the payment to some financial companies in the form of EMI. It's all only standing instruction. There are no further transaction. There are no transaction. Then that means this standing instruction is also part of the customer induced transaction. If the SI is there, standing instruction is there, then you cannot classify that account as inoperative. So inoperative applicable status. So here another very important doubt, doubt everybody will have, that is a customer is having some 3 accounts. So one in the form of SB account, one in the form of current account, one in the form of deposit. If SB account becomes inoperative, can you classify the entire account as inoperative? No. So this inoperative status applicable only to the particular account and not to the customers all accounts. In case if the customer has gone to some other bank And he has stated the reason that, okay, I have opened the other my account, his account in another bank. Then the banks have to contact the customer and say that and ask for all the details of the account opened by the customer. Then the bank is bound to transfer all the money to that new other bank's account. So in this manner also they can reduce the inoperative account. Now, government has opened uh, accounts in order to transfer this scholarship money. So all these scholarship money transfers have been opened by the banks as zero balance. And till the student has received the scholarship, these accounts should not be classified as inoperative. So this is a regular or standing instruction given by the government that in case if any scholarship account is open in zero balance and there is no further transactions in the account should not be closed till government till government stops the payment of scholarship to the student. So this is a very important thing. So scholarship accounts should be segregated from the regular inoperative accounts. Only those accounts which are inoperative other than the scholarship account can be classified as inoperative. And segregation of inoperative accounts and unclaimed deposits. So why they segregate? So this is a very important because when these accounts have been merged or have been allowed to be operated with the regular account, there will be chance for the fraud. So in order to avoid these type of frauds that have taken place in inoperative accounts, the RBI has instructed the banks to monitor all the inoperative accounts and unclaimed deposits. And reactivation of the inoperative accounts and unclaimed deposits also have to be monitored by the higher authorities. So when an inoperative account has been activated, then in spite of that reactivation, there may be some chance for the fraud. So all those accounts have to be monitored by the higher authorities or regulated authorities for a period of at least 6 months. And inoperative accounts and unclaimed deposits are subject to the verification of the concurrent auditor. It's a specific instruction given by the RBI to the concurrent auditor that the concurrent auditor has to verify all the inoperative accounts and unclaimed deposits. Now, the bankers, they have to trace the customer because they don't want to transfer the money to the inoperative account. So they first thing, if there are no transaction for a period of 1 year and between first year to second year, the banks, they have to trace the customers by way of sending the letters, email or SMS on quarterly basis. So once in 3 months, they have to send the letters. And as a concurrent auditor, you have to verify whether these letters have been sent or not. If in spite of this sending the letter, the customer is not traceable, then the banker can contact the account introducer or the nominee or the legal has in case of the disease because it is a duty of the bank to trace the customers. And even sometimes the banks have to carry out the special drive to identify those inoperative accounts. Now, one customer wants to activate his account. For this, he has to make a special request to the banker and it has to be duly signed by the customer and the customer must go and present himself before the branch manager only based on the personal appearance before the branch manager only these accounts have to be activated. Otherwise, without physical presence of the customer before the manager, these accounts should not be reactivated. And at the time of submission of the letter, the customer has to produce the KYC records to the branch manager and the presence of the customer. Here, he may appear in person or sometimes through video customer identification process also, he can produce himself before the banker. Then the bankers can activate the inoperative accounts, unclaimed deposits, or freeze accounts. These freeze accounts have been done on the request of court, tribunal, law enforcement agencies. In order to activate these accounts, KYC is must, and the customer and the banker has to carry out the customer due intelligence. Now, another important point is whenever any account is activated, that is from inoperative or operative, that accounts or when reactivation should be done by two officers of the same bank. That is, manager cannot allow the account to be operated. It can be done by the help of the another officer. That is, two officers have to approve the activation process. And this approval has to be verified by the concurrent audit. This is a specific instruction given by the Reserve Bank of India through this circular that the inoperative to operative accounts have to be verified by the concurrent auditor. And this is also another important stage. The bankers, they have to send a message in the form of letter, SMS, or email to the customer that the accounts have been revised from inoperative to operative. This sending of the mail is very, very important. And in that also, the message has to be sent to the customer that if the accounts uh, have been converted as operative, has been done without the knowledge of the customer, then the banker must be informed by the customer and report those type of transfer from inoperative to operative as fraud. And the banks, in order to operate the account from inoperative, banks have been given 3 days time from the receipt of the complete application. The application has to be submitted by the customer to the banker. The banker need not immediately reactivate this inoperative accounts. They can wait up to 3 days, but they can do even on the spot also. They can do it, but it should not exceed more than 3 days. SBI account is eligible for the interest. Now, one SBI account has been transferred to inoperative account. All those balances in the inoperative accounts for the, in SB account, particularly because current account is not eligible to receive any interest. If any SB account is transferred to inoperative account, all those inoperative SB accounts are eligible to receive the interest, SB interest. Then what are the charges? Suppose an account has been transferred to to inoperative account. What are the charges that are permitted? Or what are the charges that are not also permitted? No penal charges should be levied on those accounts which have been transferred to inoperative account due to some minimum balance maintenance. No charges should be levied, and no charges should be levied on the activation of the inoperative account. So that means all other charges it can be levied, and to activate an account from inoperative to operative, no charges should be levied by the bankers. So other charges can be levied, say in the form of folio charges, etc. Now, these unclaimed deposits should be displayed in the website of the banks. Regarding unclaimed, what is the unclaimed deposits? And UDRN number, that is transfer to DEA fund, should also be stated in the website. And this updation has to be done by the bank every month. And in case if the banks, they are not having a website regarding this inoperative account details, and they have to maintain the records and they have to provide the data based to the customers as and when needed. And who is authorized to search this type of unclaimed deposits? The individual, he can do it on himself. So a customer has got the power to do the search. In case if other than the individual, some other firm's account or company's account or trust accounts have been transferred to inoperative, all those accounts can be searched by the authorized person of that unit. And in the website, the bank should not display the account number of the account holder, then outstanding balance, and which branch the customer has got the inoperative account. All these details should not be displayed in the bank's website. Regarding fraud, this is a very, very important. No debit is allowed in the inoperative account. So as a concurrent auditor, is any audit, if you're going to the audit, even a customer can see from the inoperative account that no debit is allowed in those accounts and the debit is allowed only for those transactions which have been induced by the customer. That is, all those customer induced transactions, debit can be allowed. And the after the reversal from inoperative to operative, the banks may impose some restrictions regarding the number of transactions or the amount of transactions. So this is also permitted by the Reserve Bank of India to the banks, and the banks are not allowed to carry out the unauthorized access to customers data in with respect to inoperative accounts. Banks are not allowed to carry out the unauthorized access. Then banks have to take necessary steps to prevent the data theft and misuse of data towards any fraudulent purpose. And the bankers, they have to create the awareness to the customer about the change of their account to the inoperative account or unclaimed deposits. And this can be done in the bank's website and as well as at the branch notice board. So bank as a whole, you can get this information through bank's website, and even this has to be displayed in the branch notice board. And regarding the reactivation, the forms have been prescribed by the RBI. So necessary forms and documents must be available to the customers. Previously, only one covering letter is sufficient. Now, the RBI has come out with the necessary forms to reactivate this inoperative accounts. Now, the banks have been instructed to carry out the public awareness and financial literacy campaigns with reference to inoperative accounts. And the banks also educate the customers, the legal has nominees about the claim of the account from the inoperative account. Now, this is a very, very important thing. So after 10 years, the money has been transferred to the control of the Reserve Bank of India. If one customer wants to get the refund from the Reserve Bank of India, on going through the circular of Reserve Bank of India dated 1/1/2024, I found that reclaim of the amount from the RBI, the circular is silent. According to me, the customer can apply to Reserve Bank of India through the bank or through the branch to get back their money. This is my view. And this is a very, very important circular that I want to discuss before you, because the RBI is going to take the control of all the monies that are lying in inoperative accounts or that are lying in unclaimed deposit account. This is a very, very important circular. I request all the chartered accountants to go through this circular and advise your client accordingly. And thank you very much for the patient hearing of this program. Nandri, Vanakkam.